Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Hope all is well. Yeah, just let me know right away if you can hear me. Say, we can hear you. Automatically lower because the internet connection is not so fast. Oh, we're having trouble with my internet today. All right, well, I don't anticipate this being a long stream. So let me know if you can hear me well. Say, we can hear you well. And I'm going to jump into the subject at hand. Yeah. So I hope everybody is well. Cheers. Okay, so, yeah. Let's just jump into it. So the title is what constitutes an entry-level coder? Thanks for letting me know, man. Appreciate it. So an entry-level coder is somebody who does very basic coding. So I think always in terms of web stack. So I'm going to give WebStack as my example as an entry-level coder. Now this is in response to, I just posted this today, just 99 hours to learn code. And some people were like, you can't just learn to code in 99 hours. That's you can't do it. Now they missed entry level. So I think that I have to define what an entry-level coder is, okay? And then we can get back into it. So let me just go back, entry level. Okay, so for me, well, not for me, this is the reality situation. An entry-level coder is somebody who's doing very basic code. So yes, 99 hours of study, at least with my program, yes, you can start working as an entry-level coder. What does that mean? Example, building a static responsive website. I think anybody, if you think about it, yeah, 99 hours, you learn HTML5, your CSS3, your basic web hosting, how to upload to a web host. Yeah. For definitely 99 hours of training, you can do that, basic web building. How about setting up, installing WordPress, installing a WordPress theme? Can you do that with 99 hours of training? For sure. Yeah, again, entry level, simple stuff. Like editing a WordPress theme, all you need to know is some HTML, CSS, and a little bit of PHP and the theme architecture. It's not that hard. You can do it. 99 hours of training, very doable. Entry-level coding. Maybe implementing a simple shopping cart implementation with PHP, couple PHP pages with Stripe. If you've ever used Stripe, they provide the code. You can literally grab code, cut and paste it into your site. Boom, you got a pop-up Stripe thing, receive payments. Entry-level coder can do that. So when I'm talking about 99 hours to become an entry-level coder, I'm not talking about becoming the guy who's going to write the next Facebook, right? You got to do a little bit more training. But you have to understand there's this illusion out there in YouTube land that you're going to do the right tutorial or the right course and you're going to get that high-paying job right away doing very complex code. It doesn't work that way. But the way it really works is you get your foundations down cold, and then you go in there and you start doing entry-level work. That's how people really learn how to become professional developers, by writing code on real projects, figuring out things. A big part of your job as a professional developer, you're kind of like a detective. You're figuring out things, finding solutions, and you're learning as you go. This is normal. Even if you're highly experienced, you're going to find yourself learning as you go. So there you go. So when I put out that video earlier today, where I talked about 99 hours of training to get an entry-level coding position, that's what I'm talking about. Simple things like that. And that's where you should learn, because when you get into a job or you start freelancing with simple projects like that, that is going to force you and it's going to train your skill. It's like getting into the that's akin to getting into the ring in boxing, sparring. I talked about this in previous videos. If you go to a gym, go to a fighter's gym, MMA gym or boxing gym, there's going to be a group of people who they do the drills, they hit the heavy bags, they hit the pads, but they don't like to fight. They don't like to get in the ring. And they never learn to fight. You're not learning to fight doing drills and pads. You're not learning to be a coder by doing constant tutorials. You learn to code by actually building real things. So what I do in my teaching method is to get people in the ring, if you will, and start actually building real things, because that interaction and discovery and figuring things out, that's all part of being a professional developer. So anyway, there you go. That's it. Short little conversation about what an entry-level developer, or coder rather, is. Entry-level coder. Developer is a different game. A coder could be somebody, for example, who builds a simple website, does a PayPal integration, creates WordPress themes, updates a theme, maybe create a simple plugin that kind of you're starting to step into development world. If you create a little simple plugin for WordPress. A full-fledged developer is a different game. That's somebody who's writing code, putting together solutions for reasonably complex problems. Coder, developer. A developer is a coder, but not all coders are developer. You could be a great Python coder, but not a developer. Python coder who writes Python scripts to manage back office server processes. I know people who do that. I know people hire people to do that, and they get paid very good money to do that. They're actually not writing any Python apps. They're just using Python to manage sophisticated server farms for video rendering systems or 3D rendering. So anyway, I just want to clarify what I meant by entry-level coder and why my 99 assertion is reasonable. Yes, I'm not suggesting 99 hours and you can start building complex web apps. You're not, but you're going to get in the game. All right, so now that I covered the topic at hand, I'll do a little Q&A. Okay, good, you can hear me. Yes. Hey, we can hear you well. Hello, Stef. We hear you loud and clear. Cool. I appreciate that. Fantastic. Hey, man, how are you doing, Rob? What's going on? Bonsoir, monsieur. Saïf. J'espère que tout ça va bien avec toi. Hey, Aldalbert. I hope I said that right. All right, I can definitely hear you. Greetings, man. Welcome to streams. Thanks for coming, guys. I really appreciate it. I enjoy doing these live streams, so thanks for joining them. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. Earlier you asked the questions, more likely you're going to get them answered. I am now changing my content mix. I'm going back to more what I used to do. So shorter video segments, as you saw, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 9 minutes. And I'm going to try, I'll do streams maybe twice a week, something like that. See how I feel. So yeah, many more smaller video segments so people can consume them much more quickly. So yeah, let me know if you like that. If you like this stream, by the way, please do give it a thumbs up. It's good for the Google algorithms, you know. That guy Jamal, hey, you got a new avatar there. Hey, Stefan, long time. Hope you're doing well, eating dinner and chilling on stream. Hey, very cool. Well, enjoy your dinner. Thanks for joining the stream. How hard is it to build a REST API backend? I'm good with front end, but I want to be entry full stack dev. Well, first I would just pick a language for the backend and just drop into that right now. Just learn that now, and then you can look at building more complex things like that. But yeah, just pick a language and jump into it. Mowing the lawn, mowing the lawn while listening to you, Uncle Steph. I'm a bit late. I am. Cool. Well, thanks for joining the stream. Bye. I guess, yeah, you got me on the phone. Hey, Steph, I think a video with a step-by-step guide to becoming a freelance WordPress dev would be very useful in terms of the skills required. What do you think? Many thanks. Yeah, that'd be a good video. I'll do it. That'd be a good video. Yeah. Hey, it's the Geek Viking. How are you, man? Sorry for not being on topic, but what style of martial arts did you practice for all these years? Well, I did a lot of martial arts. I did martial arts fairly consistently for about 30 years, believe it or not. I started when I was 10 years old, and I really stepped out of it finally when I was about 40. I'll tell you, I started with judo. My mother said to me one day when I was like 9 or 10, she said, "You want to do judo?" I said, "What's judo?" She said, "It's kind of like wrestling." I said, "Okay, let's go." So I did judo, competed in judo, did that for a couple years. Then I went into a style of Japanese karate. Did that for, I don't know how long, not too long, less than a year. Then I switched over to Kyokushin karate, did that for a little while, not too long, less than a year. And then right away I jumped into Taekwondo. And I started doing some ranking in Taekwondo, did that for maybe a year or so, and then I got into a fight, and I was fighting the guy, and I was kicking him, but I was like point kicking. So in Taekwondo we'd spar, but at that time we were doing touch sparring, so we would just touch. So I get in a fight, and I'm fighting this guy, and he's swinging for the fences, trying to knock my head off, and I'm hitting him in the chest here, but I'm just touch sparring. And that taught me a couple of big lessons. It taught me that how you train in the gym is how you're going to actually perform in the fight. there's this illusion that they say, well, in training you do this, but in a real fight you would do that. That's BS. The way you train your muscle memory, the way you train your lizard brain, that's what's going to come out in a stressful situation like a fight. Happened to me. So after that happened, I quit Taekwondo. I was able to win the fight because I had judo training, so I went in there and I flipped them and choked them out, and that was it. So this is when I'm a kid, I'm like 14 or something. So then I went and I did another style called Kedge Campbell. Now they have it in the States, but it was different from other things. So I did that for a long time. Got my black belt in that. But I've also done some Muay Thai. I've done Wing Chun. I've done Muay Crane Kung Fu. I've done Silat. I've done a little Eskrima, Kali, a little. What else? I did a lot of boxing. My last training was in boxing. I did freestyle Olympic wrestling for about a year. I trained for a limited period. For about a year, I trained with the Olympic team. I was not with the team. I was not in that team, but I trained at the college, and I got this to grapple with these guys who were world-class grapplers. I could never take them down, except if I got really lucky. But I learned to develop really good takedown defense against these sambo guys and these freestyle wrestlers. And I've done other stuff as well in between. So there you go in a nutshell. So I did a lot of that stuff. I did Aikido. They all have value. They all bring something to the game. And I've seen, actually, believe it or not, I've seen good fighters in all the styles I've ever done. Now, some styles are more conducive to producing fighters. Like you're going to find many better, much more likely to find good fighters in boxing, in wrestling, in judo, in jiu-jitsu, in Thai boxing, kickboxing, versus in Aikido or Tai Chi or Wing Chun. But they're all good. They're all good. I found good fighters in all of them. At the end of the day, all these martial arts are just technologies, methods of training. And when you get to the very high level, they all kind of look the same. You watch a very advanced, a real properly trained Wing Chun guy, they look like a lot of boxers in many respects. I know it seems weird because classical Wing Chun is very stylized, but at the high level, it's very minimal movement, same body positioning to a certain extent. But anyway, I digress. So that was my quit. I did a lot of martial arts. I quit because after I got my nose fixed, because I couldn't breathe anymore, I had it broken a few times in the ring. My doctor said, don't get punched in the face anymore, my surgeon. So I stopped. There you go. Hey, it's Grandpa. Hey, no, it's Uncle Stef. Your public speaking is a lot better. I appreciate it. I work on it. What is your IQ? I don't know. What is dependency injection? Dependency injection is a design pattern in software development. The way I would implement it in Java is something called Java servlets. Essentially, think of it this way. This is a basic analogy I like to make. And it's been a long time since I've done this type of high-level coding, but imagine, when you're dealing with most applications, you're just processing data is going from point A to B, right? It's going, so in the web space, you got your browser, you got your form, or somebody clicks on a link, or somebody submits a form with information. So the browser collects this information and sends it off to the target server URL that you specify in your code, in your front-end code. So it's like a stream of data going over the internet to a server, right? So the server receives this information, and you process this information with whatever back-end technologies you happen to be using. PHP, Python, not Ruby, Java, C#, what have you. Doesn't matter. What you can do is you can inject logic into that stream. So you say, okay, you do a post, an HTTP post to the server, and you can interrupt that stream of data, and you process it. You check to see if the strings being sent, string data, whether there's any attempt of malicious codes, for example. So all the modern languages have libraries where it filters out all kinds of stuff. That filtering is kind of like dependency injection. So in the Java world, I would do it with something called servlet filters. And so I would have the stream information, and I would drop in this filter, just like a filter, like maybe on a hose. And this filter would filter the data that was coming through. And based on what it would find, it would change the logic, and I would reroute that flow of information or process that information in a particular way. So that's based in a very, again, in a very high level, abstracted way of describing it. That is dependency injection. Now, dependency injection does it on the object level, and there's different ways of implementing that. I know that the Spring framework, at least the earlier versions, were heavily reliant on dependency injection from what I recall, but it's been decades. So, but I used to use that all the time. I used to use server filters, which is a form of dependency injection. I hope that helps. Very abstract, high-level stuff. My apologies. But yeah, it's a great way. One of the reasons I like dependency injection is because it decouples your code. One decouples. This is coupled code. This is decoupled. One of the goals of object-oriented programming, any programming really, is you want to have code that is independent of the other code. You want to have code that's non-brittle. N-O-N-E? No, that's none. Non-brittle. N-O-N? Brittle. Brittle means fragile. Fragile code is all tangled up, spaghetti-ish. If you change a bit of code here, it'll break code there. So when you write your apps, you want to write apps that are like isolated from each other. So that if you change code here, it won't break code everywhere else. Filters, dependency injection, is a nice way to do that. It's a nice way to inject functionality into the app without disturbing everything around. It's a design pattern. Anyway, it's kind of a long-winded, short way of describing it, but I hope that helps. I'm a self-taught dev, and I've built several websites full stack and have recently started recoding them all in React.js for fun. Been coding for 4 years, would love to get an opinion on them. Well, if it works for you, why not? I don't know what kind of opinion you'd like. I'm undefeated in the ring, never been in one. There you go. I love your boxing analogies. Yeah. Cool. Yay, finally I'm on time for Uncle Stef's live. Well, thanks for joining. How you learn new topics, split theory and practice app. See, when you're a beginner, there's a certain blend of theory and practical. So, and that's all, like I do that in my own curriculum that I provide. But as you become more advanced, the theory drops and it's more practical. So now at my level, it's like I may, spend a half an hour reading about a new tech, just so I get or maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, depending how divergent it is from what I do. And then I will start writing code. You really learn by doing. I'm a big believer in that. So minimal theory as you get more advanced and more practical. But initially, there's a little bit more theory involved. Okay. I love your comment. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining. Your thoughts on the Pratique program in Quebec? I don't know. Don't know about it, so I have no thoughts about it. Hey, how are you? What's going on? 126 people. I appreciate the thumbs. If you like the stream, just let the Google AI know. The AI only judges by thumbs. Loud and clear. Good. Hey, hologram, how are you? Oh, by the way, this is the official channel salute. I stole this from Star Trek. Didn't steal. It's my homage to Star Trek. Code long and profitably. Or code long and prosper. Code long and profit. That's it. Okay, let's go on. Does senior developer get stuck when working in an area outside of their expertise? Sure, it could happen. You can't know everything, right? That's why you hire juniors who know stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, how are you, man? Hope everything is good. Uncle Stef, I recently started a web development agency with a friend. What's a good way for us to get clients? Put up a really beautiful website, and then go out there and approach local business and do 2 to 3 little projects for free so you have some portfolio. And then start reaching out and start talking to these people. Hey, anybody needs a website done? Look at this beautiful site I did. Look at my demo site. You're gonna have to knock on a few doors. One of the things I say, if you want local business, is to just go to Google Maps and type in independent garage, coffee shop, butcher, whatever, and see what their websites look like. If they don't look too good, approach them. You have to knock on a few doors. The first few gigs are most difficult. At 99 hours, you might be able to put something together, but it won't be written well. No, it won't. Correct H tag usage for SEO and accessibility, proper image tag usage for brand COS, etc. Lots will not be correct. Yeah, there'll be errors and mistakes, but you got to start somewhere. But you can. It's not nearly as bad. If it's not super complex to have an SEO friendly site these days, right? Do you feel that tools like GitHub, Copilot, web builders like Wix, etc., will pull the market value down for developers, meaning companies will pay less and less? No, it won't pull the market down. It will pull it over. What do I mean by that? These technologies, the builders, the no-code platforms, the CMSs, they don't pull market down. They just change what it is you're going to be doing, the type of work that you're going to be doing. So, for example, in the early 90s, we had to build our own date pickers. We had to build the UIs. We had to build content management systems, login systems from scratch all the time. We don't have to do that anymore, thank God. So it shifts the work, but it doesn't drag it down. And in fact, even though there's a lot more automation now, there's a lot more sophistication in the tools that you have, like the no-code platforms as an example, the work, though, in of itself has become more complex. So think about it. The average business person, are they going to know how to buy a domain name, install WordPress, pick a theme, pick the right plugins, make sure that everything is configured properly, integrate their shopping cart with Shopify? You think they're going to do this, most business people? No. That's where being an entry-level coder, that's the type of work you can do just to get started. So, yeah. Don't take it as a threat. Just take it as it's evolving what it is you do, So it's like, I'm sure, I'll make an analogy. I'm sure carpenters, 100 years ago, they would go cut down the trees and then, strip the trees down and turn them into planks, and then they would start building furniture, Today, you just go to the Home Depot, and you go buy your planks of wood made already, right? Did it diminish the value of furniture makers? No, they just don't have to cut down the trees anymore for themselves. They just go buy the trees. Same thing, when you leverage a library, a CMS, a framework, a no-code platform, you're just leveraging a tool. There you go. Cancel. Oops. Okay. Do you think React is good for enterprise? Apparently it is. I have not used React personally. We implemented Vue in Studioweb. I found the Vue was cleaner and I liked it better, so I said we're going to use Vue. But it's used all over the place, so it must be good. I tried to make a web app, but it seems slow. The back end is in Spring Boot. Yeah, it could be. It could be. You would have to do some testing to see where your bottlenecks are. Most of the time, though, bottlenecks in web apps are at the database level. Are you sending too much data up the pipe? Maybe you can do more targeted queries. I haven't used React, so I'm not sure how efficient or inefficient it is. So, do I need to buy a domain name and host for myself to start WordPress freelancing? No. Well, you should have a domain name. You got to have your domain name is like your business card, right? They want to see it. Okay, this Mohammed says he knows how to do WordPress. Well, let's see his WordPress site, right? It's like when I'll use a boxing analogy. When I wanted to learn how to box, I found a guy, my coach, who had a amateur record of 77-2. So that means he had 79 fights and he beat 77 of his opponents. I said, this guy knows how to fight. And he happened to be a pretty good coach. And so I went with him. So if I'm hiring a web developer, he better have at least a website. Just come on. So you should have one. You don't have to spend a lot of money, just basic hosting. Why are you still living in Montreal? Friends. I have lots of friends. It's my home. I've been here. Yeah, but I'm planning to make some moves part of the year. I may move full-time somewhere else, Hey, Stef, good to see you. How important do you think it is to learn CI/CD as a developer? I currently work with Jenkins a lot in my day job. CI/CD. I don't know what that is. Tell me. I don't forget. Sounds to me like it is a need-to-nerd technology, meaning I'm sure it has its uses, but not everybody's using it. So you learn it when you need to. What do I need to start as a WordPress freelancer? Well, you got to have your website up. You got to have a few demo products, a few demo sites rather, and then you start getting into it. How are we doing for time? Not bad. Hey, Matthew, man. Do you think that one is still considered an entry level if he knows many languages but doesn't know many frameworks? It depends how you skin that cat. There are very advanced developers who don't use frameworks, so it depends. I think if you're an advanced developer or intermediate level developer, you are able to learn a framework without killing yourself. Entry level, I would feel it would be a bit of a task for them, depending on your predispositions and aptitudes. But these badges, entry level, intermediate, advanced, architect, these are badges. When you're intermediate level, when you're advanced, you'll know you're advanced. You just know it. So if you're asking yourself these questions, there's a lot of gaps in your knowledge. But just keep working on it. The key is to write code. Hi, Steph. Long time. I was quite busy, so I didn't access Studioweb. Is there updates? Yeah, there's a new HTML Pro course that's there now. We're always cleaning up little things. I don't talk about back office stuff. Occasional bugs appear here and there. The content is, for the foundations, is pretty evergreen, although the pro courses are slowly coming out. I was slightly on vacation and slightly not feeling well for a couple of weeks, so it delayed me. But yeah, just jump back into it. Does staying in a professional environment for 5+ years qualify you as an elite developer? It depends on what code you're writing, You could be training in a boxing gym and hitting pads and fighting 10-year-old kids for 5 years. It doesn't make you an elite boxer. You have to fight elite fighters. With software development, 5+ years, I would assume that you've been doing some pretty decent work. So I would imagine you're experienced, and you've probably been exposed to a lot of different things. So I would imagine you're a pretty good developer. Kedge Kimball, why all the masters die at 70, 75 years old? Good question. The type of Kedge Kimball I did was not really Kedge Kimball. It's a long story, but my teacher's teacher, he was this guy. He actually got killed, I think, in his early 30s, maybe early 40s. He was an enforcer for the mafia up here, and he got shot 7 times. So anyhow, he called his stuff Kedge Kimball just because he picked it, but he taught something totally, like, nobody else does it. What he taught was kind of a white crane Gung Fu derivative, but very street-worthy because that's what he did. But we also did real Kedge Kimball, old style, Imperato style Kedge Kimball. So why, was the question, why are all these Kedge Kimball masters dying at 70, 75 years old? Because they used to beat the hell out of each other. There was part of the training was to sit there and pound the hell out of you. I did that, unfortunately. But they took it too far. And you're damaging the body and the nerves and the nervous system, I guess. So yeah, they die young because they just give themselves beatings, and also just very unhealthy lifestyles. I go masters because a lot of these guys have these huge guts. To me, if you're a master of martial arts, you should be in shape. That's just me. Would WordPress be a good option to try to get an entry-level job experience? Yes, it would be. Then move on to different tech stack and apply elsewhere. Yeah, exactly. That's very common, in fact. So that's exactly it. There's such a huge demand for WordPress that it's a great way to get your foot in the door. That's entry-level. What's going on here? My kids are two-time California State Judo champs. Yeah, very cool. That's great. So much WordPress questions, laugh out loud. Hi, Stef. I recently learned Laravel. Should I learn other backend frameworks? Is learning new backend frameworks easier after the first one? Laravel is quite difficult. Yeah, it's going to be easier with each one because they're all the modern frameworks are, as far as I understand, I haven't looked at all of them, but I would imagine majority of them are MVC based, which Laravel is. So you're going to see a lot of similarities. I don't know if you need to. If you know Laravel, I would go out in there, do jobs, man. Get paid to learn. Hey, salut from Syria. What do you think about Syria? I've never been. It's a place I should visit. So I have no opinion. I'm currently doing internship as a solution architect in a FANG. Very cool. I feel like the position is kind of boring for me because it's less technical. Is it worth if I change path and company to go for an SDE role, software development engineer role? I guess that's what you mean. I don't know. I don't know how long. I would complete your internship. It doesn't look good to drop out. Complete it. See what happens. See, that's the thing. When you go work for very large organizations, you're going to be siloed. This is what you do. You are going to be working on the help buttons for the next 6 months. The help buttons. That's what you're going to do. And you're going to be working on the enter new password dialog box for a year. And that's what happens when you work for large organizations. I'm exaggerating, but you get the idea. Whereas you work for smaller companies or freelance, it's much more flexible. You're doing a little this and that and that and this and that. So it depends how you want to work. Do you like the idea of working on the help button for 6 months? Or would you rather have a more broad set of things that you do? You decide. I hope that helps. Okay, I'm getting all these Instagrams. Hello. Hello, Stef from Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm on my third grape juice. Great topic. Yeah, as I said, I don't grape juice too much. So I haven't had grape juice in a little bit now. I quit coffee, by the way. I haven't had coffee. Well, hold on. I quit coffee about 3 weeks, approximately. I lose track of time because when you're 169 years old, a day is like a minute. A week is like a day, you know. So about 100. I quit coffee. I think it was about 3 weeks ago. Joking aside, because I had some acid reflux issues. So today I went for breakfast. And they poured me a coffee. I didn't ask for. Okay, so I took. I had maybe half a cup, not even, and I started feeling it. So no more coffee. So I quit coffee. I got tons of coffee beans I got to get rid of now. But I'm going out with my cousin this Saturday, so there's probably going to be some grape juice flowing Saturday night. Steph, greetings from the U.S. You guys, Canada, are our favorite neighbors. Don't tell Mexico. They don't get jealous. They will get jealous and are more hot-tempered. Their food is better, though. You've never been to Montreal. You got to go to Montreal. We have famous restaurants up here. Schwartz's, Cocorico, Au Pied Cochon, Joe Beef, which apparently people love. I hate. What else is another good place? L'Avenue. Yeah, we have lots of variety. I want to focus and strengthen my skills as a back-end developer. I want to focus developing back-end virtual reality and blockchain technology. I'm currently working to upgrade my Python skills. That's cool, man. I evidently you know how to code. Why not just concentrate on making money? you know, and let the jobs, let the money pull you in the direction. Also your personal likes, dislike, you know. Learn as you get paid. So if you want to learn blockchain, learn it when you find the blockchain job, you know, and then let them pay you to learn, you know. That's what I would suggest. Appreciate the thumbs up, guys, if you don't mind. Good for the Google algorithms. What are we doing for time? Oh, almost 35 minutes. All right. Hey, Stef, Montreal, good city for programmers, .NET developers especially. I don't know what the distribution in terms of availabilities and jobs, you know, whether .NET is popular or Java. I imagine it is. They're both very .NET, Java, very popular, Python, you know, PHP. Yes, there's a lot of software work in Montreal. Montreal is a hub for technology. Like literally within a few blocks of where I am right now, Microsoft, Google, EA Games, and maybe 10 blocks away from me is Ubisoft, okay, 20 blocks, and some other gaming companies. So Montreal is quite the hub for technology, there's no question. I learned Python and throw it away, now learning front end, can't wait to be a dev. Yeah, just get that basic web stack skills. Learn HTML5, CSS3, a little JavaScript, do some back end, some CRUD, and then, you know, start getting gigs. Just start getting gigs. Learn the rest as you get paid. No Krav Maga. No, there's none up in Montreal, or it wasn't at the time, you know. Who won the fight, Judo Gene or Bruce Lee? Oh, Judo Gene. I want to learn Jiu-Jitsu in software development. The principles of Jiu-Jitsu apply 100% to software development, by the way. Good night from Brazil. What do you think about starting by learning C? It's good. You could. There's nothing wrong with that. You might find higher level languages like Python easier, but go for C. I would do C before I would do C++. Yeah. What's worse, getting punched in the face or coding in Ruby? Oh, I'd rather get punched in the face 10 times. Hey, Steph, I'll try that again. Hey, Steph, can you recommend any good psychology books, like for developing good habits and general well-being? Yeah, well, have you done my Lizard Wizard book? No, it's not a book. My Lizard Wizard course. I highly recommend you start with that. And then from there, you can get into all kinds of different areas. Depends. Hold on. Let me get to it. There we go. Boom. Check it out, Lizard Wizard, link below. This will give you the foundations of how your brain works, and it will help you with the things you're looking to help yourself with. It's based on a bunch of things. One book I would read would be Thinking Fast and Slow. Thinking Fast and Slow, very, very famous book. Daniel Kahneman. Another great book is Robert Cialdini's book, Influence. And then he wrote a follow-up to that many years later, a couple decades later, called Persuasion. So that's Robert Cialdini, spelled with a C, and Daniel Kahneman. So those are good books. But I recommend my Lizard Wizard course. It will do amazing things for you. Okay, what else do we got here? Yo, Uncle Steph, what's cooking? Right now, just we're streaming, having fun, you know. I don't have any grape juice with me tonight, so. Your boy here, the handsome stud programmer, tuning in as usual. All right, Miguel. He's a pickup artist, apparently. Yeah. You're definitely right, Uncle Steph. JavaScript's a lot easier to grasp than CSS. Yeah. CSS, the trick to CSS is three things. Learn the cascade, learn CSS layout, and learn CSS selectors. Those are the three key things about CSS to learn. You get those, you're pretty good. Yeah. The biggest hassle people run into is that they don't understand the cascade, the CSS. The cascade is the hierarchy in CSS, and the selectors are intertwined, of course. And a lot of problems come from the cascade tripping up all your code. So you write a CSS rule, and you're like, why isn't it working? And a lot of times it's because either your selector is inaccurate, or the cascade is kicking in, and some other rule is overriding the rule you just wrote, and you don't know why it's working. So CSS is an example of I don't like it. I think it was badly engineered, even though it's extremely powerful. And because there's so much complexity, there's so much specificity, you can be so specific vis-a-vis your selector types that and the cascade, and so it's very powerful, but it can cause a lot of problems. I think that's a source of a lot of problems. So master those three things. Maybe throw in the box model, and that will be helping you a lot with your CSS. What technologies were used to build Pornhub? I think it was PHP and a lot of lotion. Bad joke. I think getting stuck in CSS or falling off the cliff. I think getting stuck in CSS or falling off. Yeah, with CSS you got to do it step by step. Take your time. When you get frustrated, understand you're like everybody else in the world. I'm great at decoupling, especially with the ladies. Majoring new in CS, computer science, and I started college a week ago. Congratulations, but I know nothing about CS or coding since but my classmates have some previous knowledge. I feel overwhelmed. Any advice? Yeah, well, don't worry. When you're starting something new, it's always overwhelming because you got all these different things flying at you. So what I would suggest is to I would learn to calm yourself down, do breathing, believe it or not. So you don't want to feel anxious, and you can help reduce that anxiety by slow, deep breathing. Do that little 1 minute meditation, slow, deep breathing, twice a day, 3 times a day when you're feeling anxious. That's going to calm you down. My Lizard Wizard course will teach you all about that. That being said, what I also suggest that you do is you just start jumping into basic coding. Write a little code every day. The mistake I made when I was first learning how to code is I thought I could intellectually comprehend it by reading a lot and taking notes, and I was putting off actually writing code. And when I finally sat down to write code, I realized I didn't know anything, even though intellectually I thought I did. The key to conceptual understanding of computer science and coding is to sit there and write code. So you want to get to writing code, try to do 20 minutes a day. Simple stuff. 1 line, 2 lines. When you get it to work, break it, see what the error messages are, then keep trying again. So there you go. There's 2 things. A, learn to calm yourself down emotionally to reduce anxiety so that you can think more clearly. B, start writing a little bit of code every day. And don't worry, this overwhelm, give it a few months or sooner, it will pass and you'll be fine. Is React worth using with WordPress? Oof, I don't know. Only if you need to use it, right? Guys, one of the things I teach, don't go looking to use a technology because it's out there. Big mistake. You use a technology when you need to use a technology. You should be aware of what React brings to the table and why you'd want to use it, but don't force it on something because you hear it's popular. No, they're tools, you know? Have you done any coding in the Forex arena? No, I have not. Don't know that arena. I imagine it's a lot of big data, right? Developing programs that helps with trading. No, I haven't, so I couldn't say. I imagine Python's probably used a lot there. And probably C++ if you want speed. 4K quality camera to see 4K beauty of Uncle Stef. That's it. No filters. This is it. Is low-level code worth learning? If you want to do low-level code. Again, let the type of coding. Like one of the reasons I say learn your foundations quickly is because once you understand the foundations, then you're going to have what I call the nerd eyes. You're going to be able to discern the landscape. You're going to be able to break down, do I like low-level coding? I prefer high-level. Do I like full stack? Do I like front-end only? Do I want to do native mobile, or do I want to do cross-platform solutions with a Flutter or something? Once you understand the fundamentals, you'll be able to make those judgments. You'll be able to decide, generally speaking, you can't go wrong with any of these things. There's jobs in all these different areas. And once you learn, let's say, low-level C or C code or C++, you start writing code for IoT devices or whatever. And you decide, well, I'm going to do more, I prefer front-end, or jobs in front-end. It will be very easy for you to pivot, because whether it's C, C++, JavaScript, Java, C#, Python, not Ruby, PHP, they share many of the same constructs and techniques and concepts. So you'll be able to pivot. You're not going to make a mistake. Learning a language is not like, am I going to drive down the wrong road here and I'm going to be nowhere? It doesn't work that way. It's, you'll be able to pivot. The first language that you learn is the hardest. The second becomes takes 1/10 the time to learn it. And the third, it takes 1/8 the time. And the fourth, it takes 1/7 the time. You get the idea, right? The hardest language to learn is the first, and then it just gets much, much easier. Unless you go from your standard language, you go into some different type of programming paradigm. But I think all the top 10 languages are all share, 90% of the same constructs and paradigms, so you're fine. So don't worry about it. Choose whatever you like. See what happens. If you don't like it, do something else. Hey, how are ya? What is the future of Swift? Swift isn't going anywhere because Apple's behind it, and Apple is the biggest company in the world. So Swift isn't going anywhere. It will be around 20 years from now, to some degree. I don't think it's going to dominate anything, but it's always, unless Apple crashes and burns, which could happen, but I don't think so. Nanu. That's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that one. Hey, Aaron, how are you, man? Good to see you. Good to see you too. Thanks for joining the stream. What is the worst case you do? What is the worst case you do in software development? I don't know what you mean by that. You have to expand that question. Practice is a program where the government pays you to learn to code. Yes, of course. I talked about that. I think it's good. See, that tells you how desperate. They're so desperate for developers that the Quebec government, the government up here in Quebec, Canada, Quebec is a province in Canada, it's like a state in the U.S., and they're literally paying people to go learn how to code. Not only they're paying their tuition, they're paying their rent, I think. And they're paying their rent in an apartment, if I recall, and food. That's how desperate they are for coders up here. So when I hear people go, there's no coding jobs, I got a feeling the problem for people who say they can't find a job coding, the problem lies between their chair and their keyboard, because there's plenty of jobs out there. I can't do that with my hands anymore. But see, one of the signs you're a high-level nerd is you can do this very quickly. See, it's like instant. And if you're a master nerd, you got double guns, right? Boom, like that. That's the way it works. Paul. Hello from Houston. What do you recommend for hosting a portfolio site? Any entry-level hosting is fine. What I suggest that you do is you call up the tech support for the hosting company before you buy hosting. Call up their tech support. Hey, see if they respond. That's the key. And if your site becomes super popular and you have to really scale it hard, and forget about AWS or Google Cloud or Azure, you got to go right to GoDaddy. That's where you go if you really need to scale an app. That's a joke, by the way. That's a joke. Stefan, I want to start an after-school coding program in my Tanzanian village. Do you have any advice to get teenage kids excited? Whoa. Yeah, Mr. Rakim, email me. Or just go to info@Studioweb and mention the stream, mention what you're doing in Tanzania, and you'll get in touch with me and I'll give you some tips offline. There's a bunch of things. But yeah, at the bottom line, really, you have to make it fun for them. You know, you have to make it fun. Hey, Steph, I have a potential client who is a psychologist. Is there any third-party websites where I can do an appointment page? Yeah, there's several of there. There's part of that no-code solution, something called I use called Calendly. Calendly. If you go to my mentoring page, I'll show you that right now, actually, so you have it. So you go to my mentoring page. Give me a second. Mentoring. Okay, so we go to a mentoring page. Boom. So I have a mentoring boot camp. It's my most comprehensive training. You learn how to code, you learn how to start a business, you learn how to get jobs. It will help you with your dating life. When women find out you're in my boot camp, you become 69% more attractive to them. All right, so you go here and you go click boot camp, and it takes you to this Calendly. This is right here. Here's the URL. Go there, and it's very cool. It's very easy to set up. It's free at first. And you can set up bookings, connect it to Zoom or Google Meetup. So that's what I recommend. That's easy to implement. So that's a classic example where I could build a booking system. But why would I? I just, would I pay Calendly $8 a month, and it's got all kinds of features and capabilities. So it takes 2 seconds to implement. I hope that helps. How we do for time? 51 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna be ending this in an hour. Well, at the hour mark, so we're getting close. Great info, Steph. You rock, man. Thanks for sharing. No problem. Thanks for joining the stream. Okay, we got that. We'll cover Google software engineer interview coming up Monday. Any tips? Yeah, research. Do some reading online about what these interviews are like, and just bone up on whatever it is you find out. Good luck with that. Yeah, get Ethan. Let me know. Let us know whether you how well you do, if you get the job or don't get the job. The fact that you got the interview, good job. They wouldn't have brought you in unless they thought there was something there. So good job already. Hey, North Carolina. Hello from Montreal. My mom tells me I am very special. Very good. That's good. That's unique. Very unique. I think you are the only guy your mom tells. I messed up that joke. Is there a chance for Java developer to get hired as a Laravel developer? Yeah, big chance, especially if you've done Java web development. If you want to get into Laravel, just go download Laravel, spend a day learning it, and show them your Java pedigree, and you should be able to get in no problem. I said it many times. I'd rather hire somebody who's got 5 years of Java experience and say, we're going to do Laravel, and say, you just learn Laravel, assuming Java web, rather than hiring somebody with 1 year of basic Laravel experience. The Java person is probably going to be a far better developer, all things being equal. Yep. How we doing? All right. Can I expedite a coding career with only e-commerce? Yeah, you might be able to make a ton of money just implementing different e-commerce solutions. So, continuous integration, either continuous delivery and continuous deployment. Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, I forget what your question is. Should you concentrate on? That's a style of development. Whether the business you're working for implements that or not depends on the company. So, again, I would put that in the need to nerd silo. Of course, people who practice CI/CD are an advocate for it. They're going to say that's the best, no matter what. But you probably find that many projects don't implement that, not because they're against it. It's just But I would put that in the need to learn, need to nerd category. Need to learn it if you have to. But it's cool. Well, your lizard brain course turned me into a reptilian. It will help you to. There's this old movie, you could probably find video of it on YouTube, called They Live. I think that's what it was, They Live, with Roddy Piper. It's kind of like that movie. You become rowdy. When you do the Lizard Wizard course, you will be given the lizard goggles, and you'll start to see reality for what it really is. And you'll be able to spot out the reptilian masters that are around us. Hello from Indonesia. Hey, welcome to the stream. Is doing e-commerce still a good entry level to get into? Yeah, sure. There's lots of opportunities there. I just got my first software developer. Well, let me start again. I just got my first software engineer job in the same company that I work doing desktop support. Hey, that's cool. I appreciate your advice very much, and will be joining your mentorship in the next month or two. Hey, congratulations, by the way. Good job. Cool. See, you go work for a company, and you're doing desktop support. So if you're smart, you become the best desktop support person there. You make people's lives around them easier. You make your coworkers' lives easy. You make your boss's lives easy. What happens? You start building reputation. Reputation is one of the key assets, I've talked about this many times, that you can develop in life. Good reputation is worth its weight in gold. It's worth a lot. And so I'm sure one of the reasons you got the job is because you had a good reputation in the business. So people will judge you on that. For example, here's a little dating tip for you guys. So you go on a date with someone, man or woman. Pay attention to see how they treat waiters, waitresses, the cab driver. See if they treat the waiters and waitresses with respect and consideration. If they do, they're probably good persons. If they don't, they're probably bad, because the way they treat the waiter and waitress, they treat them bad because they got power over them. If you're still with them, this person, later on, when they feel secure and they feel they have power over you, they'll start treating you the same way. There you go. Can I set my first site on an old laptop just to practice? Can I set my first site on? Why not? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Continuous integration. I think at one point we were doing that here at Studioweb. Development now for the Studioweb application is pretty calm because it's pretty refined. It's 10 years old. We know the code, we know the use case like the back of our hand, and we rewrote the app about a year or two ago, more like 2-3 years ago. And it's very clean now. Little bugs here and there, but yeah. All right, guys. It's almost an hour. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Good evening. Famous Kevin from Florida. I hope everything is well with you. Thanks for joining the stream. Okay, I'll find a couple more. Why you not sleep? What is time in your country? Right now, Mr. Raiden, Yamato, excuse me. Right now it is 9 p.m., so it's still relatively early for me. Have practiced Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before? No, I have not. I was in a MMA gym, and I had some good friends who were very good Jiu-Jitsu guys. And I remember one of them, I had done wrestling and grappling, so he said, hey, you want to roll? I said, well, I don't care. So I went in there, and so we went to the ground, and we started sparring, and he choked me out because I remember I had him, he put me in guard, and in judo, you get somebody in the guard, I'm in his guard, but in judo, you can put your head on his stomach and hold his belt, and you're in judo competition, that's a dominant position. So, and in judo, you couldn't choke naked on the neck. You had to, I forget the figure, you had to have an arm with it or a gi with it. Anyways, long story short, so I felt his arm going around my neck, and I was like, well, you can't choke me. It's against the laws, against the rules. And then he choked me. I said, ah! That's my experience with Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah. He's a good guy. Hey, Steph, learning Laravel and figuring things out on the fly on a project. I've only got basic PHP knowledge. Any advice? Yeah, you should know object-oriented programming. If you don't know object-oriented PHP, that will help a lot because Laravel is an OO-based system. And if you don't know, just type in killer PHP OOP. I wrote a 21-step tutorial on OOP in PHP. And like 1,000 years ago, I wrote that. And it's still good. And it's going to help you to understand OO concepts and how it works in the PHP world. And that will help you quite a bit with Laravel. If you do know OOP PHP, just keep working with Laravel, do basic stuff. It's a big framework. It's very powerful. Once you get your head wrapped around the directory structure and how the apps are set up and so forth, it will start getting easier. But it's powerful. Stef, what do you think of C# is doing better than Java, and what is your overall opinion on modern C#? I haven't looked at C# in a long time, but I'm sure it's very, very good. All right. Last few questions. Hey, Uncle Stef from South Africa. Hey, very cool. What do you think about the future of Kotlin as a server-side language versus Java? I think Mr. Thoko or Madame Thoko, it's hard to tell in the photo, Kotlin is good. I don't know if it's going to dominate in server-side Java development. I think Kotlin is going to become the dominant player in Android development because Google tells people to use Kotlin. Again, you could just pivot off of it if it becomes stagnant, which I don't think it will. I'm scrolling down to my super chat. I appreciate the $5 super chat. I get the free coconut water and Akash Sharma. I appreciate that. I have 2 job offers. One pays a few extra bucks and one has better build product. What's your opinion? One is CMS plus React, another is plain React app. You know, at that point, I wouldn't let the money affect you. If it's just a few extra bucks, I would make the choice based on the company. Which company seems more cool to work for? Which company seems more solid? Which company you get a better vibe? Because the money will even out, you know? So that's what I would do. Steph, any advice on someone who's starting a CS degree soon? Start coding a little bit every day. Don't go into student loan debt. Hopefully it's free or very inexpensive. Don't let student loan debt accumulate. It's the worst debt you could possibly get. And that's my advice. But start coding a little bit every day. Jump ahead. Any language, doesn't matter. All right. I take a course in C# if you made one, Steph, just saying. What do I think of functional programming? I think functional programming has its place, but I think it's a niche technology. I think OO-based programming will stay dominant. Uncle Steph, how much PHP would I need to build a WooCommerce site? My PHP is literally 0 from Ghana. Laravel, if you did PHP and then PHP OP and Laravel, a few months, you're going to start approaching the project. If you got sick of coding, what profession would you get into? I don't know. I've done a whole bunch of different things. Coding is such a valuable skill. Like, it's like a superpower. And I learned to code for my business. I didn't become a coder because I wanted, my dream was to be a coder. I was in business and I learned to code for my first website. And then I started getting better in code because I saw that I saw that the more code I learned, the better off I got. So I'm learning Django, but I feel stuck. Any tips? Yeah, talk to Matthew. Matthew has been doing a lot of Python and Django, so I would just keep working at it. I can confirm that. I have debt I still owe for college of $65K, laugh out loud. Yeah, that is the debt you have to pay off. Like if you have any little short-term 18% high-interest debt with a credit card, knock that off. But yeah, if you could like take another low interest loan and pay off the credit, you don't let that student loan debt linger. Get rid of it, because you can't get rid of it through bankruptcy. That's the worst thing. Like, you can rack up $1 million in credit card debt and just say, I'm bankrupt, and then that's it. You're out. But student loan debt, you can never get rid of it. That's what's so pernicious about it. So get rid of that student loan debt as quick as you can. Also, I still have to visit your harbor view, your screensaver, out in Maine. Might be moving out to the East Coast this fall. Out of the East Coast? Oh, no. Yeah, go. It's fantastic. Maine is one of my favorite places in the world in the summer. Yeah. All right. Last question. I got to go. Hey, Stef. I just graduated from college in Ottawa. Congratulations. That's cool. I see lots of job opportunities, but most of them require Canada's top secret clearance. Really? You're in Ottawa. Ottawa is our capital in Canada, so there's a lot of federal government jobs. So you're going to need that clearance there. All right, guys, girls, I appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, my name is Uncle Stef, a.k.a. the 169-year-old developer. I've been coding since the 90s, and yeah, thanks for joining the stream. If you like the stream, give it a thumbs up. And I also have links to my Instagram. I do some lives there as well, random, more casual discussions, and also Twitter, etc. And you can check out my mentoring and so on.